teen films. There's a lot of them out there. Most of them miss the mark, but not this one. Kelly Fremont Craig wrote and directed a fantastic teen movie, on par with upper-tier teen films like Mean Girls and Kick-Ass. The Edge of 17 treads familiar ground, like the obligatory house party or the juvenile crush, but it's so relatable and realistic that it stands out to be one of my favorite teen films of all time. It's well written, well directed, and well acted. It's got cringy moments, funny moments, and beautiful ones. But most importantly, the film contains an enjoyable story with compelling and relatable female and male characters. Despite our protagonist being a female, the male characters have just as much character development and are just as relatable. In a world with a plethora of teen films, The Edge of 17 stands out as a unique, refreshing, and confident installment in the teen genre. Our protagonist is the extremely dramatic Nadine, a high school junior who thinks the world is out to get her. Nothing goes her way, bad shit happens to her, and she's hopeless for almost the entirety of the film. Haley Steinfeld is wonderful in this film. She pulls off the bitchy attitude of Nadine, while also being reserved enough to eventually grow. Nadine is cynical about people and her life, feeling as if even God doesn't love her. Her outlook on life is almost hopelessly down to the dumps. Her character is so overly dramatic at times that the film almost tricks us into thinking that she's unlikable. She sort of is. Nadine is rude, mean-spirited, vulgar, selfish, and most of all, immature. Despite experiencing humiliating situations and dealing with terrible circumstances, she's painfully unaware of how poor her personality comes across to people she confides in and loves. She projects her insecurities on everyone she interacts with, and tries to make them feel less than she is to make herself feel better, for pretty much the whole film. Which is why it's such a character-defining moment when she adopts a different perspective on life at the end of the film, evident when she wishes her brother Darian and best friend Krista well, and heads to support her new boyfriend, joyfully welcoming a new, bright day. In the film's opening scene, we learn so much about Nadine's and her teacher's character. She plans on committing suicide due to having gotten herself in an overwhelmingly humiliating situation, but her teacher prevents this from happening, and he does so with sarcastic humor. A teacher whom Nadine confides in, a man who listens to all of her bullshit and has a particular sense of humor that clashes with Nadine's lack thereof. Harrelson, despite only being in a few scenes, albeit pivotal ones, is so damn good in this film. He can pull off being kind and tender, but also being sardonic and blunt. His character works so well because he is us. He represents the audience who, at times, wants to tell this girl to shut the fuck up. But he can't, and so he tries to make their interactions light. He helps her relax and serves as her father figure. He's someone who isn't going to make everything feel like rainbows and ponies. Rather, he's candid. He will avoid sugarcoating things for Nadine, and as a result, Nadine will often rethink whatever's going on with her. In Harrelson's character representing the audience, he asks her to step back for a second and relax. Their conversations supply a lot of the humor in this film. But as the film progresses and Nadine's life becomes more and more humiliating, Harrelson's character becomes more and more tender and helpful to Nadine. Now, it's no surprise, but Nadine is a pessimist, and she has been since she was a child. Despite this, there are reasons for Nadine to be so pessimistic. She was dealt a poor hand, let's face it. She lost her father at a young age, her only friend began dating her brother, which created an uncomfortably difficult situation, and she doesn't get along well with her mother. As a result, Nadine is often insecure and lacks a lot of self-confidence. The explored themes of struggling to belong, gaining confidence, and overcoming insecurities are very adult. I would argue that this film resonates better with older viewers, maybe people in their 20s and up. The scenes are so raw, and so as an older viewer, you understand the characters and what they're going through more so than a younger viewer would. So in many ways, The Edge of 17 is a reflective film. Older viewers watching this film know that confidence and security is not just handed to people. It's something that people gain over time. You might think the people around us who seemingly have everything often have debilitating problems. Life is hard, and it's full of twists and turns. No one has everything. This is the stark contrast between Nadine and Darian. Darian seems like he's an invincible kid, but he's not. He's just as susceptible to adversity as Nadine. Without a father in the house, Darian is relied upon by his mother to handle the family drama. Until this is revealed to us, we are only familiar with how Nadine feels, but Darian has problems too, and the film doesn't shy away from this. Darian feels as if he cannot apply to colleges far away because he feels as if he needs to be around if there are problems. Nadine's mother is somewhat unstable due to the passing of her husband years ago, and the fact that she has no idea how to handle her daughter's dysfunctional behavior. Each of these three characters has an arc, despite Nadine being the protagonist. The best scene in the film occurs right after Nadine hits rock bottom, finally acknowledges that Darian's problems are just as valid as hers, even going as far to admitting that she always hated the anxious person that she was. Right after this, Darian and Nadine share a very tender moment where they hug and embrace each other, which made me tear up a bit. They finally understand each other's pain, and Nadine matures beyond the need to try and hurt other people to cope with her own insecurities. It's our protagonist's coming of age moment. The same thing goes for Nadine's mother. The two spend the entire film going at each other. However, when Nadine drops the melodrama and communicates with her mother in an elegant manner rather than a hostile one, Nadine's mother responds to her calmly and collectively. This hug between Darian and Nadine and a simple text between Nadine and her mother are small, subtle moments, but they are moments of character growth nonetheless, and they're perfect. Something that Nadine genuinely wants is to be accepted. When Krista finds new friends with Darian, Nadine is forced to venture beyond her small social bubble. This is where her love interest Erwin comes in. Erwin is an awkward boy, clearly likes Nadine, but Nadine, being unable to see a potential relationship that can blossom into something great, selfishly toys with his feelings. She's an outcast, and her shitty personality doesn't help matters. However, Erwin always supported her and made her feel special. When Nadine finally decides to support Erwin, she's welcomed by Erwin's friend group, forcing her to adopt a more positive, optimistic outlook on life. After spending the entire movie sulking and hating life, the movie ends with a confident and mature Nadine smiling and embracing life. When you're a kid and a teenager, you're full of angst, and everything seems like the end of the world. This film illustrates this to a T. We all know the kind of characters depicted in this film. Awkward kids who struggle to communicate, siblings who carry the weight of their family without a parental figure in the picture, or mature friends unsuccessfully trying to reach their immature friends who are unable to process information in the same way. Despite the inevitable shitstorm that is adolescence, the storm eventually passes and things clear up. It's all part of growing up. And that's what this film is about, growing up. Some of us might have gotten picked on. Some of us might not have had a lot of friends. Some of us have lost parents and had to deal with the pain that comes along with it. But these difficult moments define us. It's the only way to transition from adolescence into adulthood. What I appreciate about this film is that it doesn't pull its punches. This film places its characters in tough positions for a teen movie. There are quite a few scenes where no score is heard, no dialogue is spoken. Instead, the scene is quiet, and the audience just watches the character process unfortunate information. They feel very raw and impactful. This teenage film's R rating is part of its realism. Its R rating is appropriate because it makes the film accurate. It depicts how teens curse and converse with each other. Teens aren't kind. They're sort of shitheads, to be honest. And so the film isn't kind. This film did not compromise potentially higher ticket sales for genuine storytelling and realistic characters. So yeah, check this film out. It's got a lot to offer, and it will most likely surprise you. Thank you all so much for all your support. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. I'd be more than appreciative if you did. Stay tuned, and I will see you next week. Have a great day, everybody.